Okay guys, so today I'm gonna take you through a phone call with one of my lenders. So I'm gonna call my lender right now. We actually just finished up with a text conversation. He wants me to call him, we're gonna run through some numbers. And what I'm gonna do is I'm looking at a way to exit out of this project right now. So I'm in a kind of a precarious situation. I have this project, the units aren't necessarily moving as fast as I need them to. In some cases, when you're doing a project like this, you borrow money. I have a large capital injection of my own funds, but I also have money coming from lenders. And so those lenders charge higher rates because they're short-term loans. And so the interest rates are higher so that those investors can recapture some of that money faster. And so in this case now I need to refinance into a longer term product. Follow me along on this call. We'll see if we can get some good information. Hey buddy.
Okay, let me get back to my desk here. So I was playing with the numbers. So a couple questions.
Yeah.
Remind me when the term expires with Wade,
Currently.
what the rate was.
When it expires in the future or when it expired with Level?
What's the current rate you're in now and when does the term expire?
Okay, yeah. So I believe I'm at 10.9 right now and it should expire in March or April of 2024. So I have some time there, but obviously the delta in interest rate is brutal in that time period. I already paid points for that loan, right? So I'm trying to figure out like how long it makes sense to keep that versus, you know, the cost savings and interest rates over that period of time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going through and wanted to confirm what that was based on rates that could be available based on the components that we talked about.
Okay.
So we first talked about it a month or so ago. Rates change all the time, especially in this environment when it comes to DSCR rental type stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a window there was really good.
I know.
And that window is kind of closed. So we're, dealing with here's the parameters. I've got this out to a handful of different lenders to kind of see where the market lies, given how the numbers fall into place. That's what I want to go over. It's like, okay, here's my first run at it. Does this even make sense, or does it make sense to just stay with what you have through the term and look at it again in like February? Okay. Are you paying interest on your own, or is it rolled in the loan?
No, yeah, I'm paying it out of pocket, yeah.
And the payment for each unit is how much?
I want to say it's around $4,800.
Okay, so, and the payoff is about $535, give or take.
Yeah.
We were listed at $730 to $740. Whether they appraised for that's kind of a question.
Yes, yeah. And they appraised at $760 in March. So the value was there. Obviously, we talked about that. Markets shifted a little bit, and an appraiser is going to look at what they're on the market for and not selling when he's looking at an appraised value. So naturally, they're going to be down to at least the value that I have them listed for right now.
So here's the math that I went through in my first run of this.
Okay.
I talked to a couple of lenders. I said, okay, what's the best case scenario? Not taking rent into play. That's assuming rent covers the mortgage.
Okay.
So I said, okay. And they even though they give you an interest-only option, they're still going to qualify. From what I found so far, they're qualifying it principal and interest.
B&I, okay.
Okay, even though interest only is an option.
Okay. So
let's just call it, to be safe, 9%.
Okay.
9 interest, 30-year term payment. That comes to $44.25 principal and interest from a qualifying standpoint.
Okay.
And then they'll look at taxes and insurance. So I have that about $316.
Okay.
So you're looking at $47.50, let's call it.
Okay.
And if you got $4,000 for a 6-month lease, you're trying to lease the other one, you have the market for $39.50. They're not really going to take a 6-month lease because it's a short-term lease. That's not a good kind of comp, right? But let's just say we just took $4,000 on the best case scenario that comps out for rent.
Yeah.
So usually they base their best rates on, at a 1-to-1 ratio. You can be $4,000 a month in rent, $4,000 a month in payment. They look at it as a 1 DSCR, so you're gonna have certain rate structure that way.
Okay.
If, for example, you get $4,000 in rent, but the payment is $3,500, you look like a 115, 120 DSCR, which is more favorable to lenders, hence you get lower rates.
Okay.
But we're not negative, right? We're 0.75 to 0.80.
Yeah.
Hence, the rate is actually higher than 8.5. Or than 9. It's more like 9.5.
Okay.
At least today, from what I found so far. Again, I haven't out there are several lenders to see if there's anything better than that. I just went to one that would pass.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, and you have to pay fees and all that stuff, it may save you from your payment why you're paying fees for a lower payment and not that better rate. And there's a prepayment penalty.
Okay. Is that the penalty is the rate adjustment, or do they charge a percentage of the refinance price, whatever that may be?
There are two ways. If we did like a 3-year prepay to get a better rate, let's say.
Okay.
And you get it under contract in a year or whatever, they charge 6 months of interest, which is like 25 grand.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Right? You'd rather just lower the purchase price by 25 grand today.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm thinking this through for you.
I appreciate that, yeah.
What makes sense? I'm like, okay, so that doesn't make any sense. So the whole point would be like, I want a low prepay so I have my options available.
Yes.
So now that shoots up the interest rate. Now we're at 9.5, 10, getting close to what you already have.
Okay. So 9 to 10.5 would be a more favorable prepay.
So it's almost like, and again, I just want to go over that with you so you got the visual. I'm waiting for them to, a couple lenders get back to me. See if I find anything better, because we're also dealing with loan to value issue too, right? So it's a 550 loan amount, just to use a number.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much capped out because that number that I have the loan on right now is at the 70% for what Wade gave me, which was that higher appraised value, right? That's 760.
I'm gonna put that out there. Let me keep talking to a couple of lenders and then get back to you the next day or two.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. I appreciate you getting back to me so quick, and then just let me know what you come up with, and we'll evaluate it and see what makes the most sense.
Right on, my man. I appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. Thank you so much. Talk soon. Okay, bye-bye. So basically, rates right now are brutal. So you're getting really taxed when you're trying to borrow money for whatever reason you're trying to borrow money for. That's why creative financing has become so popular right now, because people are really trying to capitalize on previous interest rates that existing consumers are already into, where traditionally that really only favors the residential market, in some cases some commercial, but in this case it's not applicable to what I'm doing at all. So I am subjected to market rates right now. And so in this case, market rates are really, really high. I don't know if you just heard that conversation, but rates right now for a product like this are ranging anywhere between 7.5% and 10.5%, which is a really big range. And traditionally, the least favorable the deal is, the higher those terms become. And so you're gonna get sort of penalized to borrow money based on the position that you're in. And so in this case, I'm in this project a lot of money. And so I have to figure out what is my best exit strategy. One of the other concerns you have when you're borrowing money is some lenders will charge a prepayment penalty. And so a prepayment penalty means you are getting penalized for paying that loan off sooner. So what they're banking on is that rates are gonna come down, and they're trying to lock you into that interest rate for a longer period of time so they don't lose that money on the front end. And that would eliminate me from having the ability to try to sell these properties within a shorter period of time, and I would have to hold them for a longer period of time. And that's not something I want to do. I'm trying to look at an exit for this project. So for me, the objective is to try to get rid of these as quick as possible. And in some cases, I'm going to have to retain some of them and rent them. So guys, this is really just the reality of working with banks in this market. If you can go out and find funding from different people, I'd highly encourage you to do it. This type of project is going to require a more institutional type investor, and institutional investors are going to charge you a lot in this market. Rates are high, it's a risky economy, they have to protect their investment just as much as we do. And so if you're going to try and borrow money, understand that there's a lot of variables and you may end up paying a lot of money. In this case, it may not make sense for me to do. So right now, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is what is my exit strategy? Keep and hold these, or potentially what I don't want to do is bring the prices down on these and sell them now. And that's the risk of real estate. So every time you hear somebody out there saying, go out and do it, you're gonna make a bunch of money, you certainly can, but there's risks to real estate, and this is one of them. So for more content like this, follow my page.